Welcome back to another episode of the NC Squared Conspiracy Podcast. My name is Simon.
I'm Chance.
Today, we're discussing the top five, not the top five. We're discussing five. Are they the top?
No.
No. Okay. We're discussing five secretive government facilities.
I mean,
not necessarily U.S. Someone called us out and they were like, are you only discussing United States government facilities?
Heck no, we aren't.
And I said, heck no, we're branching out. We talked about like one other country too.
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one.
In our last episode, we talked about Operation Black. So if that interests you or you don't know what it is, go listen to it and you'll learn something. It might be false, but you'll learn it. Our next episode is on, man, you told me the word and I can't remember it. What is it?
The Dyatlov Pass conspiracy.
Dyatlov Pass. So if that interests you, or if you've never heard of that.
The reason we're doing it is because the investigation recently reopened by the Russian government. So we want to talk a little bit about what it is for people who don't maybe know.
This is why you're the content guy, because I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
I had forgotten. But that's what we're going to talk about next time. So come back and join us for that adventure. Before we get going, I want to first thank all of our listeners, especially our patron donators. We'll call them donors. Patron donors. They pay for our beer and they pay for our pizza and they pay for our RSS hosting fees, which is why this audio stream is able to enter your ear canals at this moment. It's good for us. It's good for you. It's good for everybody involved.
Yep.
We are also going to extend a shout out to some Twitter followers of ours because tried something new this week. A couple hours before we recorded the episode, I made a post telling people we were going to record a new episode, asked them to retweet it so that people would know about the new episode.
Yep.
And hey, that worked. So thanks to...
Just imagine.
Thank you to Win Kelly Charles, Mike and Maurice's Mind Escape. I like that name. Mm-hmm. Plenty of M's in there. Bring on the Weird, the C Word, one of our faves. We got a shirt.
Oh, we love them.
Pod People, and 3 hours later. You guys are the closest thing to a community we have been able to create so far.
Besides our patrons.
Well, that's the community. Honestly, the Twitter followers are a bit more involved than the patrons.
Called out.
Oh, shoot. Called out.
Brutal. They're going to stop donating now.
Don't quit. It's important.
All right.
But anyhow, thank you.
We love you, patrons.
Well, love's a strong word.
Right.
You guys are essential to the operation, and we hope to repay you for that in full.
With episodes.
That's true. They get our episodes early, and they also get access to the podcast,
which is like
a miniature podcast that we record post recording the actual podcast that you're listening to right now.
Yeah, it's about 20-30 minutes long.
We don't like to use time constraints. We did one that was like an hour because we had guests.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that was a long one. But so if you get done with this episode and you think, by gosh, the only thing I want to do if the rest of my day is listen to these two people discuss things, but you've already caught up on all of our episodes, then go to Patreon and donate as little as $1 a month. And you gain instant access to all of our podcast episodes. And I don't know how many there are, but at least probably 5. And that's a total guess. It could be a lot less. It could be a lot more.
I think it's 9 now. 9 or 10.
That's as much of a guess as mine, though.
We did it fairly early on. We realized we wanted to do that.
Right.
Because it was just fun. We had a lot of fun, like, after the recording, talking about random stuff related to it or the next stuff.
Right.
And we did it fairly early on. So.
That's true. So, yeah, if you want more content, head over there, and we have more content awaiting you. I try not to make my intros too long, but I'm going to mention one more thing.
Oh, yeah. This is a big one.
Yes. Starting today, if you're an average listener and not a patron listener who gets early access to all of our episodes.
Touche.
Then today that you're listening to this, assuming that you listen to this on release day, is...
Which will be September 20th.
Which is September 20th, which is when everyone is storming Area 51. Our official... I don't know. Well, yeah. No,
it's our official.
It's official. The official NC Squared Conspiracy Podcast t-shirts
are available. We will probably post the links with this episode
No,
as
we
well
will.
as pretty regularly.
It's not a probably. not even pretty regularly. Probably just whenever we do an episode.
I'd say at least probably regularly.
I don't know. I don't want to plan it out, but like either way, the shirts are available. And also, if you order them within the first few days that they posted, so that starts September 20th, and I believe you have 3 days, then they're only $13.
Yep.
And I'm gonna buy at least one.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
at
we'll
least
probably buy 2 because there's 2 of us.
I want to buy one and a hoodie.
And a hoodie. That's true. Are there hoodies?
Well, we're gonna make hoodies.
All
It
right.
literally just takes clicking a box.
We're making promises tonight. There will be hoodies available as well that should also be on discount, but I don't know the prices on the discount.
I don't.
Because I haven't checked.
Yeah,
But
I don't know those
If
ones.
that interests you, we will have shirts. We will have sweatshirts, apparently, as of September 20th moving onwards. And if you're one of the early people, you get a discount. And if you're another podcaster out there and we bought 1 or 2 of your shirts, we're talking to you.
Yeah.
Called out. Anyhow, okay, that was a longer intro than I planned on
I did
doing.
want to say a little.
Oh my gosh! Now
I
you're
did want
extending
to.
it.
I did want to say a little transparency here because they start off at I think $13 on sale, and we get like $3 of it.
I don't know. Yes. No.
Yeah,
yes.
we
I do
get
know. I know
$3.
that.
We get $3 out of the 13 that you purchase it for, and then it goes up to $20 a shirt, which sounds like $20 a shirt for a custom shirt, not bad. And we get $4 out of that one. So just a little bit of transparency for you guys, so we're not making 10, 15, $20 off this stuff. We're making $4 per shirt we sell.
Yeah.
So.
A couple of the people we follow we didn't even say what site it's going to be on.
Oh yeah,
It's going to be on TeePublic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be on TeePublic, but we'll post links to all that. Some of the podcasters we mentioned from Twitter in this ridiculously long intro,
I know.
they also have shirts available. So if you like supporting Conspiracy Theory Podcast, go check out their profiles and buy some of their shirts because we did, and we look great in them.
Oh, I love the C word one.
I do too.
Like-
So you guys will look great in them. So yeah, anyhow, enough boredom.
Yeah. Enough intro.
Enough intro. Get us started here. Number one.
All right. Disclaimer. I did leave my notes. It was pretty bad. I had written out these beautiful notes. Simon claims he never saw them. Very upset about that.
No. Okay, so I did see them. He had pages of notes and they were all left behind. So he is as ill prepared as I normally am.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm very upset at myself for it.
but it should be humbling for you. It's lowering us to an equal level as far as content readiness. And so you can fully experience what it is that I go through every time we record.
I don't like it.
Me either, but I do it.
So
Let's hear
we're
it.
going to start off as number 1 is going to be Plum Island. It's basically pretty straightforward. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not straightforward.
Exactly. Plum Island is an animal disease center. Its main source of research is foot and mouth disease or foot to mouth. Can't ever remember which one's which.
Foot to mouth?
Foot to mouth. That's literally what the disease is called. It was eradicated way back in the day, like in the 50s or something like that.
Okay.
But it affected animals and livestock. And it could actually, I think, cause their deaths or cause contamination to reach people. I don't remember.
Sure.
But it comes down to where foot to mouth is a rash that literally starts on your feet and hands and stuff, and it's spread by saliva and touch of the infected area. So that's kind of like how it's spread. And I guess it's a virus. It's extremely contagious. And it's the CDC rates it as a mild virus.
The what?
CDC,
What is that?
Center of Disease Control.
Okay.
For people who didn't know.
I didn't. Okay.
So CDC is they control disease. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay. They control it.
We'll do a CDC conspiracy.
We'll talk about
one
that
day.
later.
So basically, it's just off of Long Island over by New York. It's its own island altogether. It was created back in, I believe, 1954. And it started off as like $111,000 project or something like that. And it was just a research center. And it started off as trying to cure common diseases and viruses of like livestock to produce better quality meat, limit the spread of disease and stuff like that. But it was super secretive at the time, and people didn't really understand why. And later it came out that they also did during World War II. So 1954 is when it was officially investigating livestock stuff. But before that, it was an island that had the Chemical Army Corps' like biological and chemical testing site. So it did research and stuff and development from there before that.
Okay.
But like the actual site's name became official in 1954. So what's interesting about it is that it's so close to like a mainland area. And it's actually funny because over the last like 60 years, it's had many outbreaks of like disease and viruses on its like, to the point where it's spread to New York and other neighboring cities and stuff.
Research is going well.
Yeah. And it's different viruses and stuff like that. So it's one of the things about the island is it's remote. It's easy to study the diseases in a controlled environment. And they kill all the animals on the island. Oddly enough, they kill all mammals on the island.
Okay.
But from there, it was also discovered that it was a natural habitat of the osprey and like, or not natural, but like it was a good habitat for the osprey and the bluebird. So the people who like work on this island like created osprey nests and bluebird boxes.
Okay.
So like they're afraid, they kill any mammal on the island to include mice, rat, deer, doesn't matter what would be on the island, they will kill it to prevent the spread of disease. But these birds, they're okay with like nesting on there.
Well, I imagine they're probably affected by different diseases, right?
Maybe, but if you're researching like livestock, aren't you afraid of some type of mutation if you're touring around kind of like with diseases and chemical and biological warfare? Like I said before, it was used during World War II for testing that as well.
Yeah.
So it's just an odd place.
Before we had the chemical warfare treaty,
Yeah.
anything went.
Overall, like around about the 2002 era, it had a $16.5 million budget for like just researching basically the main
What did
disease.
the budget start out as?
Like $100,000.
Okay, so like find me.
Or no, I'm sorry. That was when it was fined $100,000 like later on. I misread.
Okay. Still though, like find me a singular government project that came in under budget. Like ever.
Yeah,
We always
exactly.
mention this. Like we talk about Roswell and like the bases around there, and we talked about Area 51 and like the history of Area 51. And literally every project we've come across so far has blown the budget out of the water completely. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
No, seriously.
Not in the least.
Well, the other funny thing is it's supposed to be a controlled disease center for research, and they've had so many outbreaks and like issues that a whistleblower like came forward in like 2003, and then like Hillary Clinton and them like had Homeland Security like investigate them because they were so terrible at containing diseases. So
then,
in 2004.
do you think that's not actually what it's for?
I think it's still doing like a chemical, but I think they're doing a biological, not chemical, but like they're foot and mouth disease. Like I said, it was eradicated and we have like cures for it. And it's considered a mild virus that dissipates after about 10 days. Like with no treatment or something, or maybe with small treatment or something. But,
Right.
But like it's like CDC doesn't even recognize it as a disease that concerns like them at all. And then there's an entire research development team and island with a $16 million budget that's mainly researching one disease, supposedly. Like that's their main disease.
But what a bad cover-up that would be.
I know.
You guys couldn't come up with anything better. That's the main thing that leads me to believe that how could that possibly be a cover-up for something else if it's that bad?
Yeah.
But we've come across other cover-ups that were equally poor. So
And yeah, it's just the thing for me is like the Army gave the island away for the foot and mouth disease thing. But they were using it before that for chemical and biological. So you got to wonder if that stuff's still going on, if they just handed it over to a private corporation. Because when government wants to step out of something that may cause like a little bit of like controversy or concern, they'll hand it over to what they call contractors, which is a private company that they can like literally just lay the blame on if something goes wrong.
Right.
So,
and kind of vice versa. General Electric handed over their whole like weather controlling lab thing to the government because there were lawsuits going on, and then they were like, well, we'll just give it to the government and they'll act like it's not real.
Yeah, exactly.
So hang on, one more. What do you think they're doing there then?
Oh, I think they're still researching biological weapons, but I think they're trying to mutate viruses such as foot and hand.
So you think it's more of a defensive development thing than an offensive?
I think they're trying to research things
Sorry,
like...
no, wait. You think it's more of an offensive thing
exactly.
than a defensive thing?
I think it's a research of common mild viruses such as foot-to-mouth disease, and they're trying to weaponize it to where if we had to use it on a country, we could affect their livestock to a large degree, and then that essentially, like any other like country in the world, if you cut off their food supply or at least damage it, it reduces their readiness.
Sure.
But also, if it can spread to the people who are ingesting the infected meat, which it can, you're now affecting foot and mouth, which affects your hands and your feet. So you can't travel very well, and you can't shoot very well. So I think it's becoming weaponized.
So how secretive is this, though? Can you visit this place?
There was a reporter back a couple years ago, I think it was like 2010, 12, somewhere in there, maybe a little bit earlier. He did a flyby. So it's not like, you know, you're getting pulled over by police like helicopters, or like you're not getting shot out of the sky. He did, but he didn't fly directly over the island. He just flew around it. So it's not like restricted airspace entirely that I know of.
Right.
But they do kill all mammals on the island. You could go by the
common once up to no good, always up to no good. And the fact that they were originally not, they were up to no good originally.
And why would you need $16 million annually to research a disease that's relatively eradicated and also just a mild virus anyways?
Valid point. No, you're right. That makes sense. That is interesting.
So that's Plum Island for you guys.
Plum Island. That is, at least, it's secretive enough that I had not heard of it.
Yeah.
But bored me.
Oh.
Just kidding. That's not true. That was interesting to me.
I wanted to do something a little different than just military
No, I'm
bases.
kidding. I'm not actually bored. I'm just drinking.
For all you listeners out there, I wanted to do something a little bit more different than a military base.
No, I like that.
So.
That's not just straight up like a military base. Unlike mine. So, this is a straight up military base. The rest of mine are
military as well,
I
think. So.
Have you heard of the Yulin Naval Base?
Yulin?
Yulin. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Some people call it the Sanya Base.
Ah, okay.
Tis the base outside of Sanya. And you might be asking yourself, how could this be secretive? It's right outside of Sanya, which is like a large city.
I gotta be honest, I don't know where Sanya is.
You don't know where Sanya is? I couldn't give you an exact geological location, but it is a large city. It's quite the tourist attraction, actually.
Okay.
There are many large surfing competitions held there.
Really?
It's kind of like a world it is actually the surfing capital of China.
Oh, so it's got like resort and tourism and stuff like that.
Oh yes, I'm told that outside of the airport you can find Hampton Inns and you can find Holiday Expresses and stuff like that.
And there's a secret base right there.
Yes, like literally, it's right there.
Like basically under Sanya, or right next to it, or
Sanya Base or Yulin Base, as it's actually known, is cavern based.
Oh, okay.
It is based within caverns that are on the coastline. Okay. Mm-hmm. It is a submarine base. This we believe to be confirmed, at least.
Okay.
It is believed that it is a nuclear submarine base used for offensive purposes, potentially.
Makes sense. If I was going to hide nuclear submarines, I'd do it where they'd probably be ready to activate.
Yeah, sure.
So.
Somewhere, yeah, exactly. It is interesting that they would do it in a place that attracts so many people from so many different
maybe they thought they were
countries
being
and walks
that
of lives, though.
Kind of like a Denver airport situation.
Let me back up a bit, and I have no exact numbers because, as I mentioned, I'm always ill-prepared for these, but it is an older base.
Okay.
It has recently, and I say recently like mid-2000s, so more than 10 years ago, but still like recently, it has gained attention. Let me see. I wrote something down.
So
which is odd for
what
me.
they're saying is it's a nuclear submarine base.
It is a nuclear submarine base. It is a submarine base.
Okay.
The conspiracy theory is that it is a nuclear submarine base. It goes further than that. It is a nuclear submarine base for the purpose of securing China's sea, essentially, because of trade
the
reasons.
Southeast Sea.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what it is.
I thought that's what it was.
Sure, but either way, it accounts for like a third of the world's trade routes, and trillions of dollars pass through it every single year. And so people believe that if China were to gain control over that, like Russia has done with airspace, you could tax people to bring goods through there, or you could potentially only let specific people bring goods through there.
Okay.
And we all know how scary China can be.
Especially when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, they're all about that. But
world domination nowadays, I feel, is more economical than it is militarization of because
everything
it's difficult to invade a country and hold that country.
Economy is everything.
Yeah, exactly.
If you take any economics class, which I have taken a few actually, the first thing they tell you is that economics is everything. And whereas most classes teach lies and hatred, this is true. Economics is everything in the current world on a large scale. This came to light because satellite images revealed pictures of submarines at new docks that resemble demagnetization docks that we have for submarines.
Okay.
And they were like newly constructed docks that were near the mouth of the caverns that had these submarines at them.
Oh, South China Sea.
South China Sea.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you were closer.
I thought
Well,
Southeast.
actually, that's what I was going to guess, but I didn't. And so you guessed and I didn't. But you made me lose my train of thought.
Oh, sorry.
There are piers that have been built that resemble demagnetization piers that we use on our submarines near the mouth of the caverns. The reason, do you know what those are for?
No,
extent.
to be honest.
Well, you demagnetize the hull of a submarine because it is a large metal thing that generates magnetic fields. And so it's harder to detect. And also it's less likely to trigger magnetically triggered mines.
Okay.
So
that
it's
makes
really
a lot of sense.
only important if you're going to be doing something you're not supposed to be doing.
Or at least you don't want to be seen doing stuff.
Yes, and they are odd-looking docks. It's not like a standard dock, and there's a submarine at it. So it raised confusion. But multiple pictures have been taken, and apparently the Indian government is actually like way, way more interested in it than we are at the moment.
Well, they're right there.
It's a big deal to them, geologically. But
Now, not to interrupt you, but it's interesting that they have this.
You did, though.
I know. It's interesting that they have this special, secretive kind of submarine thing, and they're also building islands. So,
right. Well,
that's interesting.
the reason it would have to be so close is because of the trade routes that involve the South China Sea. Right.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Because, like I said, it accounts for like trillions of dollars worth of commerce, like every single year.
God, that's so much money.
Especially
if you can control
and money
it.
is everything, as we discussed. And so having a base there of that capability, and there's rumors because of how close it is to other islands and whatnot, that it is strategic in the way that they plan on expanding from there. But you're right, it is weird that it would be, it's like it is in the city. It's close enough to the city of Sanya that that's not its actual name. But they call it the Sanya base because it's that close.
I can probably speak to why.
Tell me.
China restricts like 99% of all like information in its own borders.
Yeah.
And I probably think it has too big of a hubris to think that, other countries aren't doing the same thing, or vice versa. They just thought nobody would see it. Being right next to a resort.
That's true. Also, we have discussed before that China seems a lot less concerned with their citizens seeing things than America is.
Because they control what they can say.
Well, that's true. But I mean, but hey, to some extent, like we did a weather control episode, or climate control. And we talked about how they just like tell their citizens that they're doing it.
Yeah.
And because of that, they were able to progress much further in that technology, and now they're using it in the Tibetan mountains.
It is amazing.
It's a big deal. It is amazing. It's like world changing. And our government chooses not to tell us. So you got to think. We have secretive bases. I said I wasn't going to talk about Area 51, but here I am bringing up Area 51. We fly people in to work there and then fly them back. And we like send people in on secretive buses and stuff like that. Think of the time and money you would save both in operation and construction if you just did it right there next to the city so that people can just live at home.
Yeah.
And like go to this base and live a normal, better life. And
or just build a city around it
for the military base.
For the workers. Just build a town around it. It's not the first time it would ever be happening.
Yeah. So. No, I mean, hey, I don't know. I didn't look too far into it, but that might even be how it started. That seems to be how a lot of towns start.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about one later.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was an interesting one.
That is.
Mainly because it just made me happy because somebody asked if we were only doing the U.S. government. And I was like, actually, there's one that's not. So no.
I was going to do a Russian one, but I actually decided not to because I wanted it to be a full episode to itself. There was some juicy content, so save that for you guys later.
Completely unrelated. I also have a cat named Sun.
Yeah.
And then her name slowly evolved into Sanyo. And sometimes I call her Sanya. So when I saw that this city was called Sanya and there was a Sanya base, I had to do it for the cat.
Yep.
Makes
sense.
I live for my cats.
So in conclusion.
And to
conclusion.
To conclude.
To conclude
I don't think
oneself.
that's proper, but it sure sounds proper.
So you think it's for the control of trade route?
Yeah, I think that, well, okay. Without getting into the whole reason I think China does their military the way they do, because we could do a whole episode on China and their military. Yeah, I think the strategic advantage of having it there would be that they have power over that potential trade route because China has voiced the fact that they own that sea.
Even though there's
not everybody has acknowledged it, but they have voiced the fact that they think they own it.
I've heard a lot.
But
about
also,
that.
I think it's really smart to just your citizens know there's a secret base there. You have got to get better quality work if your employees are going home to their own house every night.
Yeah,
and
less people probably snooping. If you're like, this is a secret base, you show up, you're gonna die.
Yeah, that's true. But it's close enough. Like that's silly to me. Whenever you talk about secret bases, and we do.
There's a lot of them in remote deserts.
Yeah, they're like remote deserts. They're in Antarctica. It's like, come on, man. It costs way more money. We talked about it. I don't remember the exact numbers because I can't remember anything. But we talked about how expensive it ended up being to make Groom Lake, Area 51, because of how far out it was.
Yeah.
They opted to build it in that place, even knowing it was going to cost like exponentially more money. They decided it was important to be that secretive. But then some, if not all of the most secretive bases in China are just like, they're right next to cities.
Right next to resorts.
That seems smart. Like, this is going to cost a ton of money. Money is everything. How do we save money? Let's build it closer to the town so it costs less to build it.
And we still will restrict everyone having access to it.
China receives a lot of hate these days, but that seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
I back that idea. We should build next time we build a secret base, it should be like right outside of a town.
Yeah. Just smack dab in the middle of the town.
Right in the middle of town. Let's just make
it kind of like Denver Airport.
Yeah. Hey, whoa.
See?
That's true. Okay, we won't talk about that. But anyhow, you got another topic for me? That was the end of mine.
Yeah, all right.
That was, again, not even that secretive.
So that was number 2. We're moving on to number 3 now.
Okay. No,
for those who are counting.
I am.
So I'm going to talk. We've talked a little bit about the crash, but I want to talk about the base involved. One of the bases involved in the crash.
What?
of aliens.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I know.
I don't know any of your subjects, so tell me what's
going to
going.
make it
What's happening?
So today we're going to talk, for number 3, we're going to talk about Wright and Patterson Air Force Base.
Oh, we did briefly mention that in the Roswell episode?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I knew we did, yeah.
Roswell crash. Actually, it's
That rung a
rumored.
bell.
Well, it's not rumored. It was confirmed that part of the crash was taken to Hangar 18.
Megadeth song for those.
Yeah.
That's a Megadeth
There's
song.
been a lot of
There's a Megadeth
inspiration
song
from
about
Hangar
it.
18 because that's where like the original like
It was voted the
crash
top
was taken.
conspiracy theory based song of all time
Yeah.
recently.
That's awesome, actually. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Man, it ties in so well, and
I know. I didn't
catch
even
it.
think about that, but no. It
Well,
did.
you didn't know the subject.
That's true. So I didn't think about it as soon as
So,
I figured it out. Okay, go for it.
So, Wright Patterson, they used to be 2 separate actual runways, and it was I'm not even going to try to remember the name.
Don't try.
Eventually, they combined back in the day. You know,
Make it peaceful.
dates presented here. What's odd about it is it's an active Air Force base, right? But it only has like 3 actual units there, 3 different like divisions of units. It's like the 88th Air Base, the NMUSAF. That is a hard one to say when you've had 2 beers.
UNSAF.
No, in Nevada, Mike, uniforms.
I tried to prove you wrong, but then I got it wrong because I've also had 2 beers. So.
Yeah. So, and then the
Lightweights.
445th airlift wing. So, and it has a pretty big budget for having only like 3 divisions there. I don't remember the numbers because I forgot my notes. So, I'm sorry, everybody. You can hate on me later.
I can't believe you forgot your notes.
I know. I'm so upset about it. So, anyways, comes down to where, like I said, that's where the original parts and stuff were taken when Roswell crash was discovered, or rather rediscovered or covered up.
We'll call it covered up for the sake of conspiracies.
So that's the main thing with it, is that it's that, as well it has one of the largest Air Force museums. So odd for being a kind of more secretive base. Secretive to the point to where back in World War II, all the way up to recent history, like we're talking like early 2000s, one of the main jobs of one of the divisions there was to reverse engineer enemy technology. Hence the Hangar 18.
Why we would bring a UFO there.
That's why you would, is because there's a division of scientists and engineers, specifically that is their only job.
Probably Nazis. Probably.
But that was their job, was to reverse engineer things like captured planes, technology of any kind, things like that. They were to reverse engineer it and develop it. And that's another part of what makes Wright-Patterson Air Force Base kind of interesting, is that they have what's known right down the road from them as Plot 42. And oh my God, I'm upset that I don't have my notes, because there was some juicy stuff about Plot 42.
You're probably lying.
No. So Plot
probably
42 was the developing and engineering district that sent all of their testing to Area
quotes.
51.
Okay.
Air quotes in there. So Wright-Patterson Air Force Base had the engineers and scientists reverse engineer. Plot 42 would take that reverse engineering that they learned, they would develop technology based on it, and then they would send it to Area 51 for testing.
Okay.
So you see the dots being connected. Roswell
Yes.
crash, reverse engineering. Plot 42 takes the technology that they're capable of developing and figuring out, then sends it to Area 51. Area 51 starts to use that technology, hence UFOs.
Which makes you wonder, why is everybody storming Area 51? When that's not even the place that does the reverse engineering.
So that's one of the ones that was kind of very interesting to me. I'm going to try to look up really, really fast. So, dang it. It's so difficult.
Awkward pause.
So, okay, well, I'll go off of memory. So some of the companies that are involved in Plot 42 is Boeing. I've talked about Boeing before. I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the channel.
No, I don't think we have.
Boeing was like originally founded by someone from Area 51 who had no like college.
Is this confirmed?
Yeah, I never.
Yeah.
Well, I never grabbed his name. It was a conversation I had with another
I'm gonna
conspiracy.
look up the founder of Boeing.
Well, see, and that's the thing is I don't know if he was a founder or one of the founding engineers. Of it.
Okay. Either way, I believe you.
But thanks.
Yeah.
But he was from Area 51. He was a security guard or something. And then he started a company with no education in aerospace or anything like that. And he started patenting all these different things. It was actually a History Channel video I remember watching when I was younger. Like I was like 16 or 20 or something like at the time. So that's why it's like fuzzy to me who his name was and stuff. But it's something that stuck with me with the Boeing because he had no formal education, nothing. Like there was no indication he understood aerospace design and was capable of developing and patenting like these airplanes that were like revolutionary at the time.
Okay.
So Boeing is invested in Plot 42. Norfolk?
Norfolk?
I think it's Norfolk.
Okay.
They're the ones that developed the stealth bombers. They were the first ones to figure out that the odd geometric shapes of a stealth bomber causes it to be radar undetectable. Also, very weird considering if you think about it, a spaceship, that would be pretty useful to be able to be invisible. So,
Yeah, sure.
So they reverse engineered that from probably alien spacecraft and was capable of understanding how to reduce radar detection. And then there was a couple others. I honestly can't remember. I had it written down, and it really upsets me.
How does it feel to be as unprepared as I?
Again,
Pressure's
terrible.
on. Yeah, no, I know. I live like this.
Especially considering this was a big episode we
I
were having
thrive
fun
under these
with.
conditions.
Do you now?
No, but
I get upset about it.
I can tell. But no, that's good. So, what's the conspiracy, though?
The conspiracy is the fact that Wright Patterson had the original UFO crash in Roswell, and they reverse engineered it, developed it like a new technology based off that reverse engineering.
Yes.
Transported it and, relayed that information to Plot 42. Plot 42 physically developed it in a thing, and then sent it to Area 51 to get tested.
I wonder what aircrafts came
Lots.
soon. Yeah, a lot did soon thereafter.
SR-71 Blackbird.
What year was? Man, it's been a while. But like the whole Roswell thing. Did we? No, we did talk about it.
Yeah.
The X-1.
Yeah.
Like a groundbreaking airplane. Developed by NASA or for NASA. I don't remember. We talked about it briefly in the Roswell episode.
Yeah.
But you're right. Right after that time, the X-1, which was a groundbreaking aircraft at the time, was developed. And as you said, the SR-71 and stuff like that starts showing up. We did have a massive leap in our aerospace technology suddenly. I didn't realize that's the connection you were making. That makes sense, though. I get that. That's smart, actually. That does make sense in one way or another because it's the base.
You'd want the, just
Have you been there to the base?
to which base?
Fort Wright. No, not Fort Wright. Wright in Patterson.
No, I have not actually physically been.
Where is it?
Oh
Oh man, you don't even know where it is.
It's Roswell. Dang it!
No, I know. We looked it up.
I missaid it. Remember in the episode?
No, oh, that's right. So
It's New Mexico,
you
isn't
didn't.
it? I think I said
you didn't even know
Nevada
at the time. Look it up. But
Oh yeah,
I know we have the Google. Which
I
is a
said
big deal.
Nevada at the time, and I was upset
But it's
at
not
myself.
a secretive place in itself.
No.
But the
it's
fact,
holding secrets.
but the fact that it's so, yeah,
And
I get it. No,
every military base is secretive right now because you're not allowed on it.
That's true. The fact that it is publicly acknowledged just as a base, and people like pin Area 51 as this place of like alien aircraft development and testing, but and maybe testing is true, but the fact that the actual development of that technology more than likely happened at Wright and Patterson.
Yeah.
That is the secret.
Well, what my theory is behind a situation like that is you never have everybody you're not going to have the mass public know all the information necessary. Especially when you have very smart people who are going to question things and may even spill the beans on it. You're going to break it. Yeah, spill the beans.
Okay.
Been a long time since I said that.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. It's Ohio.
What? It's Ohio? Not even close. Oh, my God.
Anyways,
it's not even
Wright
close.
Patterson was the one that responded to the UFO. But
that's not even close.
no, remember it was the general who talked to the lieutenant or something, and he was the one that was, man, we are not... Without my notes, I'm just terrible.
See, I feel like I might be better at winging it than you.
I think you are.
And like, okay,
I like notes. I like being able to see where I'm
No,
going.
I know, and I have notes. Winging it is a stretch. I have like bullet points, and some of my bullet points are only 2 words long.
Yeah.
And like that just strikes something in my brain, and then I go off of that. And sometimes it's just 1 word, and it's just like, remember to talk about this.
So,
I had one in here that just said cat sanyo. That's the whole note, and then that like brought up the whole fact. Yeah, the fact that I have a cat.
all right. So like I said, getting back on topic, if you have everyone know everything, you're more likely to lose the secret. But if you have people compartmentalized to where they know one little thing and they know what they're doing with one thing,
Sure.
and then it's passed off, like if someone puts a gear in somewhere and
have
then
a
you
s-
pass
you
it to
could
the
have-
next guy.
I mean, you can have a secret somewhere that's not a secretive.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point, is that it's in plain sight.
But in a way
one
that-
guy knows he's doing this, another guy knows he's doing this, but they don't put the 2 pictures together and realize that it's an alien spacecraft.
Right. Or even if they do, if only a small amount of people at the base know about it, and it's just in a closed off hangar or whatever, easy enough.
Dead men don't tell secrets.
That's true. And that makes me eat my words from the previous topic that I gave, because I was talking about how they have it like right in town.
Yeah, but those
Sandy
people
base.
don't have access to it.
That's true.
They're just aware of its existence, and that keeps them...
I'm sure not everybody at the base, well, they must know. If we know about the nuclear submarines, they must know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And also, like, we're assuming that those submarines that look like the kinds that could
73%
carry
of what we do
nuclear
is
bombs
assumptions.
are the ones that are.
I am so sorry about like having misinformation on locations of places. I am not doing
Yeah,
good without
Ohio
my
is
notes.
nowhere near New Mexico.
Oh, God.
Well, it's not. Well, it's closer than it could be.
Closer than Texas.
I'm not.
I'm kidding.
I don't know my geography. You start saying states in like the Midwest, and I have no idea where they are. You know what I mean?
That's how it went.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
Let's get into
2 beers deep.
Let's get
We need to
into
take an
number
intermission so we can go get another beer.
Oh yeah, we do.
Okay.
Oh, God,
We're gonna
thank
take an
God.
intermission, and it's gonna be like a magic trick, because it's gonna be like we didn't even leave. And we're back. See, just like that, it was magic. We have since done research, and Ohio is much, much farther away than Texas, right?
It wasn't so much research as I thought about the map in my head and realized Ohio is a lot farther away than...
When I think about the map in my head, only the places I have lived are there. The
That's
rest
fair.
of it is just empty.
I've lived a lot of places.
I've crossed the country via car more than once, and yet still in my head, the map of the United States really only contains like Washington, California, Florida, Virginia.
I mean, I've lived Washington, Kentucky,
Tennessee,
Texas,
though.
Oregon.
I've been in Tennessee many a time. We were talking.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about. No, we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, we're getting ready to talk about
We
that
haven't
one.
gotten there yet, but for those
First, we're
who
going to
have,
crack open these beers.
I was about to explain that.
Oh,
So
well,
I'm gonna
let me
explain
explain.
that for the people that have been watching. No, I'm gonna do it for the people that have been listening. I almost said watching, but that doesn't make sense.
It could.
We
I mean, you could watch the screen while listening.
we made a verbal pact, not on the podcast, but discussing the podcast, saying that we needed to drink more, because that was actually the whole point to begin with.
We talked about it on podcast last episode, actually.
We
were
might
only-
mention it every time we crack a beer.
Probably. Probably.
Now that I'm thinking about it, but we said that we wanted to drink more beer because that was actually like half of the reason we started the show was because one, we like discussing these conspiracy theories, and two, we like drinking beer. We only drink ciders because that just seems to be what I've purchased so far.
That is what you
I
have
don't know,
purchased.
we'll branch out. No, we had an ale once, didn't we? We had a pale ale once or something.
Something like that.
Either way, today we are each drinking a what is it? What was it called? Mine doesn't have that logo.
Oh, then it might not be the logo.
The brand is
Oh no, it's Whiskey Barrel Cider.
okay.
.com.
Wow, mine doesn't even tell me the brand. It just says WBCC.
Maybe that's your brand.
No, these are the same. But either way, I'm drinking. What's the name of it?
Mine is Triple Play Hard Cider.
And mine is Damn Hard Cider. And I like the name of that. It makes me feel tougher, even though I'm just drinking a cider.
What's funny is Triple Play is weaker than the Damn Hard.
That's true. Triple Play is sitting at a 5.1% ABV. Mine's at 5.8. So damn beats triple.
Apparently.
Is there an original that's only a third of the triple?
Like 3.5.
That'd be disappointing. Well, that's more than a third.
Moving on.
It is. Well, just correcting your math. I'm going to give it a sip test. Actually, I'm going to give it a sniff test.
You always go for the sip test first.
I do, and then as soon as I get it up to my mouth, I realize I actually care about what it smells like more than I care about what it tastes like.
A lot of apple there.
I've had these once before. Let me tell you about the last time I had one of these.
Oh, okay.
I was sitting in a hot spring in Montana.
Seems right.
That's true. That's not a lie. I was sitting in a hot spring in Montana, and I drank one of the Damn Hards. Never had a triple play, which makes me think maybe I should have had the triple
Maybe
play.
you should have had the triple.
That's okay. But either way, I was having a Damn Hard cider, and I was sitting there, and I was thinking, damn, this is a hard cider. But then it was actually just because I was in a hot spring, and like,
Yeah.
it was
Just like a hot
It was
tub.
really like a hot
alcohol.
tub. You like get drunk really quick, and I was sitting there, and I was like, "Holy smokes! Like this one tall boy can has got me feeling pretty good." And then I realized that was my first time drinking beer in a hot tub or a hot springs.
Do it in a hot bath.
That was in That was where the Lolo hot springs.
Lolo?
Actually, you drive to the Lolo hot springs from Missoula, and then you go about an hour further, and you get to the Johnson hot springs. So it was technically the Johnson hot springs. The Lulu hot springs have like lifeguards at it. It's that regulated.
Oh, okay.
But the
Weird.
Johnson hot springs are naturally occurring. It's not like funneled into a pool, and you can just hike up there. And there's like naked people there. I think every time I've been there so far, there's been a naked person there.
Are they hot usually?
No. Oh, no. But like, either way, it's just it's odd to me. So it's not like it's not a trippy.
I was just asking what everybody was thinking. Are they hot?
Oh, right. Yeah. And like, right. Exactly. But, it's funny to me. It's not the kind of place you bring like anybody. It's really enjoyable because it's out in the middle of nowhere, and we normally go in the winter, so there's snow, and then the hot springs are nice and hot, and it's just like you and your friends, and you're getting drunk on like just a beer and a half, and you're feeling really great. But then there's like a naked old dude across from you, and it's not that he completely kills the vibes, but the vibes are, for the most part, completely killed.
I just love how you're like, they're not completely.
But they are. Okay, I haven't actually drank this yet, so I'm gonna go try it.
Mike's pretty smooth.
You got the triple play? Mm-hmm. Does it resemble triple feelings in you at all?
I gotta say no.
I will say the Damn Hard is actually quite dry. Not in a bad way, though.
This is not
It's
dry.
got dry flavor. Yeah, no, it's actually good, though. It tastes a little basic. But the can is just black and white. It's
That's
a basic can, and it's a basic flavor, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
It's not trying to be fancy.
It's not. And I think sometimes people overdo it, even with some of the name brand beers. Not saying any names, but you know what I mean. Some of the name brand ciders, they're a bit too sweet.
Yeah.
Like, it's sweeter than an apple itself. Which is okay sometimes, but this one's nice and plain.
I can't believe yours doesn't say Whiskey Barrel Cider.
No, mine says WBCC, which is the acronym.
That's weird. Hold on.
Why is that weird? I think they just changed the logo.
Oh, mine says WBCC, Pullman, Washington.
Oh, I didn't see it was. Well, this is local.
Oh.
This is different. Oh, yeah, not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Yet.
Maybe.
And after the... it's really not... Now I say that. It's not bad. Like, me calling it basic isn't calling it bad.
No.
It's good, and I'm going to enjoy drinking this whole thing.
Sometimes you just need something
But they're probably not going to sponsor us after that half-hearted review. So, next time, guys, we need to start making them, like, way over the top.
I go way over the top.
Mine
when I
does
get
say
paid.
whiskey barrel cider, so that was a lie.
So yours says everything Mike says. You just read none of it.
Yours has like a picture that mine doesn't have of a barrel.
Because yours is basic.
Yours is basic.
No, mine is prettied up with the triple play.
Right. This isn't what this is about. We try not to veer too far off course for too long, and I think it's already been like 10 minutes. And we got 2 more topics, and we're going to really squeeze them in here.
Has it really been 10 minutes?
I think it has since like, no, I don't know. It's either way, we're coming up to an hour, and these ones always go like a little long.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to go too long. Honestly, I'm so tired right now. I can't believe I'm about to drink another beer. But, it keeps you awake. I'm going to talk about, for my topic,
Yep.
Oak Ridge.
Number 4.
Yeah, number 4, Oak Ridge, Tennessee. As a lot of people probably know it, it's just a town or it's a city. But did you know it was founded on lies? That's not actually true. It wasn't founded on lies, but it was your typical case of the military moves in somewhere and kicks everybody out and then brings new people in and then ends up needing way more people than they need and it just turns into a city. And that happens like all the time. It does. Oak Ridge, Tennessee actually played a crucial part, and I don't remember which part it is, but it played a crucial part in the development of the nuclear bomb.
Manhattan Project, yeah.
Yeah, it was created and originally used in aid of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
It originally was supposed to be fairly small. I think it was originally allotted to have like 13,000 people in it, was what the original plan said.
Okay.
Don't just say okay.
I'm listening.
Okay. Either way. Okay. But it was originally planned to just have the people that they needed on base, right? It was.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, and we'll talk about it. But it was a crucial part in the development of the nuclear bomb.
I'm glad that's going as well for you as me last round.
It's actually going better for me. The thing is just that I'm drinking a little bit, and that's okay.
Sure.
You don't need to be like that. You don't need to be like that. But it expanded eventually after World War II to be so large that it just ended up being its own city. You can go there now. At the time, I said it's a classic case. They moved in and they removed the few residents that they had in the area. This is Oak Ridge, Tennessee, as we know it now. But at the time, that's not what it was called. They moved in, kicked everybody out, and it was called Project X, which is like, you can't be more sci-fi than that.
Yeah, I know.
They called it Project X, and they moved in 13,000 people and built a base with like pretty basic homes and lodging for them to stay in. And it was in aid to develop the warhead for World War II.
Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And now, this day, we got a Roswell thing going on where it is developed into a city, a full-size city. By the end of the war, it was actually the 5th largest city in Tennessee. All because it was there just doing what they were doing for the war. The wars generate cities sometimes, apparently. But what are you doing?
I'm listening.
Uh-huh.
Wars develop cities sometimes.
Okay. But now it's a whole city, and you got a Roswell thing going on where the people who live there like don't even know what happened there originally, or the fact that like that's what it was for, and that it was so secretive that like they wouldn't let anybody else live there who wasn't involved. Mm-hmm. And our government goes so drastic with that. They need something secretive, and so they like remove people from their homes to get a special spot.
Yeah.
And then it's just a city later. Like,
Yeah,
what, you couldn't have let those couple people live their lives there?
Didn't they like come in and say eminent domain and like remove them forcibly?
Yeah, they just came in. They were like, well, you guys, you can't stay here.
Pretty much.
It was like 60,000 acres. It was a lot of land.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they made the few residents who lived there, they made them move, and they moved in new people who apparently were better than the people they made leave. And then it was called Project X originally. Right. Over time, it developed. People call it the Secret City, and they also call it the city behind a fence because it's fenced off. That's how secretive it is. It's fenced off.
You're not allowed to go in there.
Yeah, I think I like this one. Because
did you say it was removed from maps?
No, but because it's not anymore. Now, if you look up Oak Ridge, because it is just a city with a base there, it's on the map. And the Oak Ridge Laboratory, which is the facility we're talking about, is also on the map. And I believe it's something you can even go and like visit. But at the time, it was so secretive that Oak Ridge itself was not on the map. And obviously, because of that, neither was the laboratory.
Yeah.
It's when people started living there, you kind of got to put it on the map. You know what I mean? But I just like it because now it's like it never happened. And that's common.
Yeah, secret city, and then no one talked about it, and then magically it's on the map again.
It was the secret city, and then they put it on the map, and it's like, now it's not a secret city. It's Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
It's amazing how easy it was to control that kind of information back then.
We have a coworker that said he caught a weird fish there once.
Oh, yeah. We wanted him on the show. He just had plans.
That happens.
It does.
I get it.
He said it had 4 eyes and a leg.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
I didn't hear him.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures like that, though, so I'm not going to discard it.
Yeah, it had one leg sticking out underneath one of the fins and 4 eyes.
Eyewitness account.
Yeah.
It's 25 miles outside of Knoxville.
Yeah.
For general location, a lot of people know where Oak Ridge is now. But for those who don't, a lot of people they know where Knoxville is. It's close to Knoxville.
To Knoxville. For people like me who apparently get locations wrong.
Yeah, who have a problem with their... exactly.
I'm never going to live that down.
No, probably not. But maybe you can move to Oak Ridge and...
Start a new life. In a highly irradiated area.
Okay, people that live in Oak Ridge and don't know what was going on there, and people that live in Roswell and don't know about the whole UFO thing, they're not living their best life.
And you
I would like to... I know that probably the town of Roswell is a terrible, terrible place. I can just imagine, just because of its location. That's not the average place someone wants to live. But if I lived there, in my mind, I would at least be like, but at least I live at Roswell.
Yeah.
And that had something to do with aliens at some point.
Yeah.
You never hear anybody. They don't even know. How do you just not know?
Yeah, wasn't there an interview with one of them, when they were doing some 50th anniversary thing?
She was...
And people didn't even know that was a famous crash site.
Yeah, one of the ladies at Roswell, they told her about it, and she was like, oh my God.
I never knew.
I cannot believe that. That's just bizarre to me.
It's not making...
I don't know how this city was founded. But I feel like if it was as big of a deal as the whole UFO thing, or it happened near there, I would definitely know about it. I spend way too much time looking up paranormal stuff, but I guess if you don't, you might not know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. I'll wrap up that butchered topic. It's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn. For number 5.
The final, so make it... Could you make this one good?
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Gotta finish on a high note.
All right, fine.
I'm ready.
I got a good one for you.
Go for it.
So, Diego Garcia.
Mysterious name.
Actually, it sounds pretty common.
I think I've met someone named that before.
That's why it confused me. But it's basically an atoll island off of East Madagascar area.
What?
An atoll. So an atoll is a island that the center of it has a lake or part of the ocean in it. So it's kind of like a ring of an island rather than an actual solid island traditionally looked at. And if you guys want to look it up, it's atoll. It's A-T-O-L-L. They don't want to look it up, but I'm going to tell you how to spell it. So basically, that's, like I said, it's like a ring of an island. It was probably once an island and then either collapsed, whatever may have you.
Islands do that.
Yeah. Things do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to forego a little bit of the dates because of my notes situation.
Not like you're looking over them. It's you
Just
don't know
looking
them
over
anymore.
them real quick.
Yeah, I'm just gonna skip past all that numbers.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that.
So basically, it was at the time under British territorial control. You know how they had a lot of colonies. In fact, hey, we were one. Hey, hey. So they had a lot of colonies. This was still one of their colonial assets, per se. And then back in 1966-ish, let's go with 66, they bought that island, like up from a company or the actual government that owned it. I can't remember. But once they bought it up, they had this huge idea of like building a base on it, a joint base with us, the U.S. So basically, over time, they were trying to insist the residents to leave the area, who were relatively employed people who were happy. It's considered a very beautiful place to live. They were happy people where they lived. And since we were talking about eminent domain situations,
All too common these days.
yeah, the UK did it a little different back then. When people would leave the island on vacation or to travel or to go see doctors, things like that, they would just deny them access back to the island, saying
That's the way to do it.
So they would deny them access to the island, saying it was restricted.
Dang.
So like these people would leave on like say vacation to Madagascar or South Africa for whatever purpose, and when they try to go back, they'd be like, "Oh, we're sorry. You're not allowed to go back there. Even though you have a home
You don't live
with
here
all of your
anymore."
possessions in it, you're not allowed to go back there. It's restricted."
No, you don't live here anymore.
That's literally what the UK did.
Jeez.
So not only that, but the ones who didn't leave, and they were trying to get them to leave, in quotations, willingly, they would do things such as kill all of their pets.
Oh, that's cold.
I don't know how that would like convince someone to leave, but basically they would harass them.
Bullies, dude.
Dude, seriously.
Goodness.
They would harass them to such a large degree, like to get them to leave, to include killing their pets, restricting food and medical supplies to the island, to force them to have to leave to obtain those, and then deny them access back to their own home.
So they have like good ideas and bad ideas.
Instead of just
That's a rough way of going about it, but if you think about it strategically, just denying people the ability to go back to their own house once they leave, that's the way to go. You don't have to make people leave. You wait for people to leave by themselves, and then when they try to come back, it's easier to keep someone out.
Yeah, so basically that's how they get it. And it was thousands of residents on this island.
Oh my
It's not like a couple hundred people on a remote island situation. These were thousands of people.
What a time to be alive.
Thousands and thousands of people just completely denied access home. And from what I can tell, I tried to research into seeing if the UK would give their stuff or transport their belongings up. Nope. They pretty much just demolished it all.
Well, it's cheaper to burn that stuff.
Yeah. So
Wow.
So that was the start of it all. Then around the, I think it was 1968 or something like that, the U.S. got involved with the UK because we're allies and all that good stuff to develop a base there. This base, the conspiracy behind it was obviously the removal of the inhabitants. It wasn't public knowledge at the time that they were doing these really shady things to get them off of the island. Instead of just being an adult about it and being like, "Hey, we're kicking you all off. Here's a fair compensation for your valuables and your property, but you don't have a choice." They were like, "Oh no, we're just going to kill their pets and deny them access."
Just kill their pets. Gosh.
So
That's not how to handle things.
Then the U.S. came in and built with the UK a joint task force base that assisted in wars as late as the Afghan and Iraqi war. It was one of the main staging areas for flights and things like that.
Okay.
I'll finish off with the interesting part of it all is that they've held it since the 60s. Shady way to go about it. There was some like really shady stuff going on at the base too, like submarines and like
typical shadiness.
Typical things to where like people claimed UFOs were going there and stuff because it's an extremely remote island.
Sure.
So things like that. To top it all off, though, is that I think it was just recently, earlier this year or late last year, the UN finally has, through their justice system, I didn't even know the UN actually had a justice system per se.
Now you know.
Now I do. Is that they deemed it illegal for the UK to continue using that as a base, and they have to give it back to the original government that owns it, even though they bought it technically from the government by force.
Well, yeah, bought it by force.
Well, that's what their original intent was, is they were driving the population by restricting them access to the island and kicking people off slowly. They lowered the population to insist that the government sold it to them. And they paid them like really crappy amount for what it's worth. But yeah, this year, I think it was earlier this year, the UN finally said that they have to, as rapidly as possible, return the island back to the original governance. So whatever that means. They're like, yeah, it's going to take about 25 years for us to downsize our military efforts out here, and we're going to have to move on down to South Madagascar, so it's going to be about 25 years.
It'll be about 25 years. We got a lot of people here. So 25 years.
Oh, yeah, that was something. It's about 3,000 to 5,000 U.S. That's not counting U.K., but 3,000 to 5,000 U.S. Soldier involvement, like occupying the island at this time.
Yeah, that would take 25 years.
Also, another fun fact on it, just to end it off, the U.S. Navy's like magazine, I don't remember the magazine, notated that it was the most beautifully kept secret in the world.
Really?
And they commented on how beautiful and how great life was at this island because it was beautiful, good food, good everything. Like they talked about how great it was to be stationed at that island because your lifestyle was so much higher because of the beauty of the area and things like that. But they stole it from the residents.
That's what you got to do sometimes, you know. So. Yeah, no wonder those people loved their life so much before they were denied entrance to their own.
I thought that would go well with the.
Give me a recap, start to finish, conclusion.
Start to finish of the whole episode?
No, for this topic.
So,
give everyone the rundown.
UK has a colony. It goes in. It restricts its people's access to the island to lower the population, as well as forcibly removing and insisting and doing all the shady stuff to get the population low enough to where they could so that they could buy it off for a super cheap amount and force the government who owned it to kind of comply. And then later on they're told to give it back because it's illegal.
So is there a conspiracy or is
yes, the conspiracy was at we were talking about secret bases in general, and this was
just why I was just asking.
There was this base has been super secret for a long time. It's always been known, but its exact purpose has never really been known. There's never been like a lot of documentation on what it does. But the big conspiracy part of it was the not so nice way to remove its residents. I guess is the best way to put it.
Sure. Okay. I gotcha.
So, because at the time this wasn't news, this wasn't being talked about in the 60s. This was a quiet overthrow of the population.
Well, I'll give it to you that I had never heard of that before.
Yeah.
That's all new to me.
It was a fun one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, pretty much every topic we've talked about today, I didn't know about. Well, I mean, I knew about the ones I was talking about. Didn't really know about the topics unless we talked about them, though, which is important because I feel like if you went to YouTube and typed in like top 5 secret government facilities, the first 10 videos would have like the same 5.
Well, the first 10 videos would be Fox, CNN, and History Channel talking about the official report.
They won't give you alternative news, but even if you did find them, it would be like, well, number 1 is Area 51.
Yeah.
Which, like, awfully convenient. That's the place the media constantly refers to as the most secretive place on the planet, and now that's where everybody's storming looking for information.
Today, hopefully.
Right? Yeah. So, like, I know. I'm excited for tomorrow because there's going to be a lot of good stories to read.
Either there's two things going to happen with that is it's just going to be complete utter
The day
chaos.
after is always better than the day of.
Yeah.
Because you can hear all the stories.
If you guys are listening to this, still, bravo.
Bravo. I know.
We appreciate you.
I guess we'll close it up here. I like doing top fives. It shakes it up. It's a little bit different. Honestly, it seems like the episode goes by quicker on this end. Probably feels slower.
Oh, yeah,
I bet you it feels slower on the other end, but it feels quicker on this end.
We had a lot of early, like, intro stuff to get out of the way.
I know, and I'm going to recap almost all of that now. So if you want to delve out, now's the time to do it. Ready, set, and now there's nobody here. But anyhow, for the recap of the intro we did, after this, we're going to record a post-podcast. It's more nonsense, and it's on our Patreon page, available to anybody who donates anything. That is as little as $1 a month. Shameless self-promotion over. Thank you to all the Twitter people who shared our tweet. No, they retweeted our tweet. I know. Twitter freaks me out, man. They retweeted our tweet. I thanked them at the beginning, so I'm not going to do it again. Well, I'm going to blanket thank you. I'm blanket thank youing all of them again, but I don't have their names pulled up. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on aforementioned Twitter. You can find us on Patreon. We are on YouTube. Those would probably be the quickest places to get into contact with us. You can message us on Patreon even if you do not donate. So message us wherever works for you. You can listen to us wherever you're listening to us right now. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartMedia, Listen Notes, Podbean, YouTube, the Himalaya podcast app, which I had not heard of until I realized we were on there. So that's cool. We're like... If you just Google NC2 Conspiracy, you'll find us. We're all over the place.
Everywhere.
If you want to help us out and don't have any money, then you're in the same boat as us. So go and just leave us a rating somewhere, or a comment, or a like. That generates traffic. That's good for us. We appreciate it. Thank you to all the patrons who pay for the RSS hosting fees, who pay for the beer that I'm currently drinking, and who pay for our pizza.
Following us helps a lot, too.
Yeah, that's true. Following us helps a lot as well. Thanks for listening. I hope we see you in the post-podcast podcast.
Goodbye.